Paso, Texas. She's going to be sharing 10 things photographers should know. So come on out, Rachel. Rachel's like, do I go? Do I go? I don't hear. She's so nervous.
I was fine until Sue was like, the first time's the worst.
Well, it's her job as a judge to scare you. So we should just establish that.
I know.
That's great. That's great. But you're better.
You're better looking than
She
him,
is better
for
looking.
sure.
That's what I think. I'm excited because you're the first presenter to, start us off.
Yes.
And it's an absolute honor because you are representing just a small piece of our industry. So thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
I mean, I'm excited because you're from El Paso, Texas. Now, I wrote a few notes. So you're from El Paso, Texas. You're married to an Army soldier. You're also a lawyer. You're a photographer. And you're a mom. And you've done all of these things since 2009. And I'm just wanting to know if there's anything you don't do.
Sleep.
Oh, okay. That's good to know because I was reading, we were corresponding before and I just felt like so much less of a person after talking to you. You're so successful. Now, one of the things that I really liked after a recent conversation is your ability to laugh at yourself because something happened at your law school graduation that just really shed light into who you were.
Everyone's looking at you and I'm walking up on the stage and the music's going. It's so awesome. And I was just like, up the stage, and of course everyone's looking, and I did it over there, but I was off camera, so you guys didn't get to see the trip over the cords that are laid. So yeah, it was pretty embarrassing, so I'm hoping that today doesn't top that. That's kind of my goal.
Okay.
Not to...
Well, speaking, on that, you made it on this stage without tripping.
I'm right here.
So that's good.
Yes.
So you mentioned also that you get a little bit nervous speaking to your peers.
I do.
So how are you dealing with the nerves today?
I'll let you know when I'm done.
Okay. Okay, good. Now, you flowed from one career to another, which I absolutely love. Now, what's the biggest leap of faith that you've made in your career?
Pretty much exiting law school, all my friends were getting firm jobs, and I knew that's not what I wanted to do. I was doing photography. I'd done business consulting prior to law school, and nothing wrong with being an attorney full-time, but I just wanted to find a way to combine it, and I did. And, it's still a lot of probably negative looks from my classmates and so forth, but I prefer this. This is so much more fun. I meet all these awesome people. I don't get that in the four walls of a law firm. So,
So in that same vein, what has been the proudest moment of your career, even though it's different from what people thought it was?
I published a book recently,
Congratulations.
which is really exciting.
Thank
you.
Thank you. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So tell us the name of the book and where they can get it.
It's The Laundry List. It's a mom's guide to running a successful business and home. Since I've done multiple businesses and have had kids along the way and gone to school, I combined pretty much everything that I knew, poured it out there. It's not just for photographers only. It's for non-photographers, any industry. It can relate across the board, and I just love it. I didn't sleep to write that one either. So,
well, congrats.
Thank
Again,
you.
is anybody else feeling like a little bit less accomplished standing next to her? Now tell me, I want to kind of personalize you because you really do appear to be superhuman to me. So what's one thing, you are, okay, good. What's one thing that we would be surprised to know about you?
Okay, I don't remember what my answer was I gave you.
Okay, the answer you gave me.
Probably because I hate public speaking.
Okay.
Was that the answer?
I think I'm just going to keep it real because what you told me was when you turn off the lights and you jump in.
Oh my God.
She's going to be embarrassed. Do you want me to tell you?
Yeah, I know you're good.
Her exact answer is, I still run and jump into bed when I turn off the light. I'm afraid little gremlins are going to get my feet or the random boogeyman under my bed.
I completely forgot about that.
And now that I'm completely embarrassed, Rachel, we're going to start off her presentation. You guys, please help me welcome Rachel.
Thank you. All right. Whew, thank you, guys. I'm going to go over some business basics. It's a business checklist of 10 things you need to do, whether you've been in the business 30 years or you're just starting or you're a hobbyist thinking about becoming a photographer. The most important thing with this checklist is that you can literally write down 10 points to take away and to examine later whether you need to make any changes in your business or just a concrete that you're doing what you need to do. We need to have the confidence. As artists, typically the business side may be lacking. When you're running a business, you need to be strong and confident in that as well. Clients are going to see that. Other people in the industry are going to see that as well. So that's what we're going to go over. So business checklist, we're going to do the 10 steps to getting the biz in order, or just reevaluating it as we go. So the very first thing we're going to go over is a business formation. And this is pretty much geared towards American businesses, but it can translate across the board to other jurisdictions as well. The key things when determining whether or not what business formation you want to be is looking at the different structures and types that are available. But you don't just want to pick one. You don't want to log onto a forum and just ask, what is the best business structure for me? Even going to different attorneys, you might have different responses that they're going to give you. So you want to evaluate the types that are out there, the pros and cons of each, And the pros and cons pretty much include the investment of finances, how much it takes to set them up, and the maintenance that you may have to do. The steps that it takes to form, and I said investment, and then the options to change formation. I included this because if you've been in business 30 years, your business goals may have changed, your financial situation may have changed, so your business structure may need to change as well. So let me give you a couple examples on the structures, and again, this is American-based business structures, but they can be translated across with the little tips that I'll provide. So the first one is one of the most popular is the sole proprietorship, which is most people set up because it's the easiest to get into, it's the easiest to form, and it's the lowest cost available. Most states require a doing business as license or a registration of fictitious name. Some states require nothing at all. But the downfall of being a sole proprietor is that everything is in one bucket. So like for me, as a mom and having a family, I want my assets separated out. I want liability protection. But when I'm a sole proprietor, they're all in one bucket together. All my personal assets and my business assets. And we've got an LLC, which is a limited liability company. And don't fall asleep on me, guys. Like, stick with me, it's gonna get better. I promise. I can see the faces, and you guys are like, but limited liability company gives me those two buckets. It's a little bit more high cost, a little bit more formalization in the formation of it, but it's not that big of a deal. Other ones that can, formations that you may have are partnerships or corporations. I'd be here all day if I had to talk about corporations. But anytime you want to work on a business structure, disclaimer, talk to an attorney. Talk to people who have been in the business a while. Ask them why they chose that certain one and why they didn't, and why they may have changed. All right. So, and then additional, on top of the business formation, you want to see if there's any additional licensors or permits in your area. And this goes for anybody. I work with international clients as well. And there are typically, especially internationally, there's a lot of additional permits and licensures that you may need. So formation is not enough. Running out, setting up your Facebook page and your website is not enough. You need to be formal, legit. And a good thing about being a formed business, we're fighting this feeling in the industry. There's hardly a barrier to entry. Anybody can get a camera, they can learn about it, they can go to a workshop, but your clients want a credible, professional business. They're trusting in you, they're giving you money. Not only is it the law to get formed, but also you're able to lend a little bit more credibility to yourself, so when you go to your clients, you can say, I am a registered business. Here I am. All right, so taxes and accounting. So this is the second point, and this is a really big one, but I'm just gonna give you guys a couple key things on that to look at. In America, we've got three main types of taxes. We've got federal income, and state sales. Not every state has income, and not every state has sales tax either. And that's why it's kind of hard to talk about this on a big platform, but I plan on getting really in the nitty-gritty of it if I make it to Seattle, to be able to break that down for you guys. But the important thing, the reason I pull this out is as a business consultant, I have found that a lot of people are so confused. They say taxes, I get emails, what about taxes? And I'm like, well, what taxes are you talking about? You need to get very specific, know where your money's going and what it's doing. So we've got federal income and state income taxes. That is the tax on your income. Then we have the state sales tax. And another reason I've pulled this out that taxes are so important other than we need to pay them, again, credibility for your clients. Charging sales tax, if your state does, some states don't, will lend a little bit more credibility to you. They pay sales tax when they go to Walmart or Target or Applebee's or TGI Fridays. Why would they not pay sales tax to you if you're a legit and registered business? The key thing on this that I want people to understand with sales tax, I hear all the time, well, I don't want to charge my clients more. You're not charging your clients more. The government is. You're essentially taking the money, you're holding it, and it's not even going into your pockets, you're handing it across. Whereas the federal income tax is on your profit, and the state income, you are going to pay out of your profit, but not the sales. All right. And that's what I was saying with the credibility. Every state has state sales, or every state that has state sales tax has a permit to keep it on hand. Sometimes you may be shooting or you're going to get a license or a permit to shoot somewhere. Businesses may ask, especially if you shoot indoors and rent studios. Wedding photographers, when they go to venues, they may ask for your formation and sales tax information as well as insurance. Filing, always keep up on filing, even if you don't make any money. If you're a registered business, you have your permit and you're in the system, file is $0 or you're going to get fined. Well, I don't need any excess funds. And then this is the part that I really recommend outsourcing if you're going to outsource anything at all. Even myself as an attorney, I've taken tax law. I still don't get it. Tax code is ever changing. If you are considering outsourcing something in your business because you're so completely overwhelmed, this is something I would look at adding into your costs in order to outsource as much as possible. just because it is so specialized, it changes all the time, and I personally don't want to get in trouble. I want to spend more time worrying about my clients, about my photography, and getting better and getting to know people than worrying about taxes. All right, so point number 3, we're about a third of the way through. Contracts and forms. Contracts don't have to be boring. I absolutely love them. This is probably my favorite topic here, but that's the lawyer in me. But to have them, it informs your clients. It protects you. It's good because, again, you're lending credibility. You're showing your clients that you're a professional business. You're showing them exactly what you're going to do, what you're going to provide, what you expect of them. And it kind of just, I'm not a very salesy person, despite that I can get up here and talk about money and, go one-on-one with what you need to do with your business. When I get to my clients, I'd rather spend more time talking about what little Timmy's doing next week at soccer, what they want to wear to their session. I don't want to spend the time having to rehash policies or anything as much as possible. I want that experience, and I feel like you have to spend your time going back and telling all that. Then it kind of takes away from it. Whereas if I have the contract form for them to look at or to walk through with them, helps it out for me a little bit as well. So these are the main types I think that every photographer should have. This is not all-inclusive. Anything I say here today is not all-inclusive, and I need you guys to understand that. There's so much when it comes to the legal aspects of running a business, but these are the core ones. You obviously want the agreement. This is the agreement, everything I just outlined. You want to outline the expectations, what you're going to do, what you're going to receive for it, and a plethora of other provisions that you can include, but those are the very basics that I want you to go with. The second one is the model release. I mean, even the audience coming in here today had to sign a model release in order to be on television, on the internet. So we want to be able to have that. And again, that can be included in your agreement. It doesn't necessarily have to be separate. But you have that so that people are giving you the permission, especially in today's day and age where anyone can hop on a computer and can do anything that they want with pictures. Some people don't like that. I want to provide that courtesy to my client for them to be able to tell me that is okay. Copyright provision. I know for America and Canada, I'm unsure of other international laws, we retain copyright at time of creation. And this is, again, just telling clients, and not because I want to tell I own your pictures, because they don't know. How many of us really knew when we entered? Well, I did because I was an attorney, but how many actually knew that we own the copyright, and what does that really mean? Because I'll have clients that come all the time and go, I want the copyright release, and I get all excited because I get to have a little conversation and explain and educate them. And they know I'm an attorney, so they're probably going, oh my gosh. But I'm just like, yes. And so I can explain to them what the difference between copyright and having the license printing usage rights for the pictures. And that's if you sell digital files, obviously, and also some prints. The print release, like I just said, that's providing them the license to be able to print, but I'm still retaining the copyright. And that's if you're going to be this day and age with working with digital files, you want to have that as well. And the last one, property use. It's so funny because I went out shooting last night and we were out in the desert and we were like, and I thought about this portion of the presentation because for property use, I think if you're going to use someone's property, you should at least get their permission. I want it in writing. And I'm from Texas. You go on someone's land, they're probably going to shoot you. And so, I want to give them a forward understanding that I'm going to be there. And so, when we went out shooting in the desert last night, I kept going, is this someone's land? In my head as we're driving out with clients. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to die in the Las Vegas desert. But but it was good. It was fine. We ended up at Hoover Dam. So, it was all good. We were able to shoot there with no problem. And yeah, I pretty much went over what each should include, just the basics, pretty much what the title is called. It's not that scary. And clients may feel scared, but if you're educated to be able to explain it to them and break it down in layman's terms, they're going to feel a little better. Photography is not something that people run out and do every day. It's very hard to get on the other side of the camera. I can't even tell you how hard it is. I'm avoiding looking at the cameras. That's how hard it is to get in front of it. So think about if you feel that way, what your clients feel, and by walking through the business stuff with them, being educated, having all of it right there for them, and understanding what it means so when you provide it to them, you can answer it, they're going to feel better, you're going to feel better, and the business relationship's going to go a lot better. All right, so number 4, we're going to go over insurance. Well, why to have it? Why do we have insurance? And almost everyone in here probably has at least car insurance. You want to protect yourself. Many of us are doing this full time, so we don't have an employer that's providing insurance. So we need to make sure that we have the specific types that we necessarily need. I put property, I should have put equipment because it's a little confusing for property, but I put property also because that can include studio and so forth. But to make sure that your equipment and everything is covered. I would rather have a $500 deductible than have to pay $5,000 for a new setup. When I was on my way here, the airlines left my think tank bag out on the tarmac and it's pouring and I'm standing in the window and I'm like crying because my whole equipment's out there. But I thought to myself, I have equipment insurance. You know, I could have at least, when I got there, scrambled and used a backup and then was able to move forward, but that was covered. I knew I was covered. I wasn't going to be out $8,000. The second one is liability, and I think this is probably the one that I think the majority of people try to hedge on and try not to get. This is so important. Even if you set up as a limited liability company to have those two buckets, you still need it. Wedding photographers and newborn photographers and commercial, I think, are the ones that are the most important to need it. Those are sensitive situations that definitely need that extra protection for you and for your clients. And just some of the venues that you shoot in may also require that you have this as well if you're a wedding photographer or event. Disability in life, it's your full-time business. You want to make sure that you're covered for on disability in life. You never know what's going to happen, but if you can't shoot, what are you going to do? You're going to be without income for how many months? And then automobile, if you're transporting clients, majority of personal automobile insurance covers other people in the car, obviously, but you want to make sure if you're doing it in business activities. And that's another thing I want to say on property. Not all homeowners in or renters insurance will cover business transactions on your equipment. So you want to make sure that there's not a clause in those, and you may need additional coverage as well.